Kia ora and talofa geniuses, Jazzy Low Smith here, holding it down in the background for week 3 of the Abj Sports Opinions. This week was packed, hard hits, clutch plays, and messy calls, so we've got lots to talk about this evening. So whether you're here for the footy, the NRL, the fight nights, all the finals energy, you're in the right spot. If you're tuning in live, then please drop in the comments and tag someone and make sure that we keep it respectful. As always, in the next 10 seconds, I'm about to introduce your hosts, Lucas and Elkan. So let's get into it.
Welcome to your Monday night sports opinion show with the team at ABJ. I am Lucas.
And I'm EP Elkan. Welcome back to week 3, lads.
He's pretty hyped about the Warriors getting up. Should we start there with the NRL?
Oh, yeah, we should. Oh, what a game. Up the wires, obviously. We did speak about it last week, how we do have a lot of potential this year. But as you guys know, if you did watch the game, for the first half, it was 14-0, wasn't it? Yeah, and then they ended up coming back in the last minute. But then
Same old story,
letting them come back again, giving us a bunch of heart attacks. But at the end of the day, 15-14, we come on top and we secure second position. How do you feel about that, dude?
It's a place where I didn't think that we would get to, especially so early in the season. I thought that we would have to sort of make our way into the 8, grinding and grafting hard, but they've really come out after the first loss to the Raiders and then the big stumble against the Storm.
Yeah.
They've really just ground out some ugly wins. So they haven't blown teams away, but they haven't lost their composure and lost games. So it's pleasing to see. It really is.
100%.
How did you feel about the Panthers getting up?
Getting up or tying with the Cowboys?
Sorry, 30-all draw, was it?
Yeah, it was a 30-all draw.
After 90 minutes.
After 90 minutes, yeah. That was a game, I will say. I think for the most part, I thought the Penrith, we were ahead about, I think it was 12 points. And then in just the last 10 minutes, we just let them back in. We basically pulled a wires. So it got to 30-0 on the end of full time. We went to extra time. They had so many chances, the Cowboys, to actually ice the game. And poor Drinky, poor Jake Clifford, they could have finished the game, which was the same as Cleary as well. Well, I think the Panthers were a bit uncoordinated, so we hadn't really set Cleary up for a drop goal. We kind of just wanted to pressure them into their own field, which is understandable, but I want to win. So, but at least it was a draw, not a loss. Out of that wooden spoon territory now.
Did they get off the bottom with that draw?
Yeah, they did. I think we're still second last, but at least we're not wooden spoon.
Well, there you have it. High hopes for the 4-time premiers.
Trying to make a 5.
Now, did you happen to see the Bulldogs game?
I did watch that game. I saw it was 20-0 to the Raiders in the first half.
At halftime, I believe.
At halftime, yep.
20-0.
Second half comes in and they win 38-22 or something like that.
32-20.
Oh,
so
32
the
to
Raiders
20.
don't score again, and pretty much Stephen Crichton puts the team on his back.
Yep.
Which he's been doing quite frequently, and pulls one out of the fire for the Bulldogs, and they reclaim top spot, and they're looking like the team to beat.
They are.
When you did think that the Storm was going to be the team to beat. So everything's getting a little bit more, sort of the plot thickens in the NRL.
Yeah.
It's just starting to take shape. And now we're coming into the State of Origin period, which is a period that usually the Warriors do quite well because they don't lose players due to Origin. They might, at a very push, lose Mitch Barnett.
Yeah, Mitch Barnett, yeah.
But other teams are missing 2, 3, 4 players in that, bringing in young players to replace them. Usually this is a time when the Warriors can get a few cheap wins.
Yeah.
However, this year they have the Raiders in round 12 when the Raiders would be losing those players, and they don't have that many players either. Maybe Hudson Young.
That's probably it, eh?
I think
honestly, just Hudson Young. Yeah.
So they're not losing a lot, and they've got a lot in their tank. So that'll be a big game. It's in Auckland.
Yeah.
So that round 12 game, the Warriors have the Dolphins this weekend at Suncorp.
Yes, they do.
So
that's a
we'll see
match
how
to
that goes.
watch. Yeah.
Hopefully they can keep the momentum. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we have been at the moment, so yeah, pretty much what Dad said. Let's keep the momentum. The potential is always there. But yeah.
We have a question. What do we got?
With Origin around the corner, which players are putting their hand up and who's at risk of missing out despite early season hype?
Ooh, this is a good question. There are players who look like they are going to miss out this year, and there's also players who look like they'll probably make it when maybe they shouldn't.
Yeah.
So who have you got on your list that will make it and you don't think has been playing up to par?
Dylan Edwards at the moment.
Do you think he'll make it in front of Tedesco?
I think he'll make it in front of Tedesco. even
Big call
though
there from Sticky.
But yeah, no, I reckon Edwards just because of his performance last year. So obviously Teddy didn't play that much. He was injured, but nevertheless, we secured the dub in Suncorp with Dylan Edwards at fullback. Yeah. It looks like he's just going to end up securing that spot. But obviously, I don't think I think Teddy actually deserves the spot. He deserves to be captain in New South Wales with the amount of experience that he has on that big stage. But yeah, I think Dylan Edwards will be the guy who will take his spot.
It's funny because New South Wales has a plethora of options at fullback.
100%.
So much so that they're playing multiple people out of position, multiple fullbacks out of position, so that they can get them in the team. Basically, they'll have Pappenhausen, they'll have Latrell Mitchell, they might have Tom, they might have Edwards, they might have Tedesco, and all of them could be on the field, or maybe one of them, with a 14 on his back. But it's hard to say which way they'll go, with so many options. I also think on the other side of that, Kalen Ponga has been, he's a bit injured, so his ribs are obviously not all there.
Yeah,
and it looks like he might still, get the run there just from a lack of options. I'm not saying that Hamiso isn't a better option, but he'll get slipped into the team somewhere else too, because he plays multiple positions. Yeah. So I think Ponga for me, and you think Edwards?
Yeah. I also think what's his name? Valentine Holmes
is not going to make it.
I don't think he'll make it either. I think Taulagi will take his spot, and then they'll keep but they did lose Ben Hunt recently. So he is out for a month. So he might be out of Origin. So
that probably works in Ponga's favor, because Ben Hunt covering hooker. Who knows what Billy's thinking.
Reece Walsh is injured, eh?
Walsh is injured.
He's out for Origin 1.
Hamiso's still an option at the back.
Yeah.
Cobbo maybe at a push.
Cobbo, yeah. He may be the one. Oh, but even he's been playing. I don't even know, eh? This is hard for the Queenslanders. I feel bad.
Don't feel bad for Queensland there.
The Blues, baby. No. Anyways.
Okay. We'll see how this goes in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, shit.
All right. So let's look at the other side of that coin now. Who's going to make it sort of that has been playing really, really well and deserves to get there probably for the first time?
Definitely Cleary, obviously. He's
not the first timer though.
He's not like a Terrell May. Or first timer.
I'm not sure if Terrell May played last year, but he's definitely playing this year.
He's the one. He's the one that's going to come in this year, yeah. Because Terrell May has never played Origin in his life, and now's the time for him to get on the big stage. Even the way he's been playing this whole year with this team, getting smashed by the Storm and still coming out on top as a good forward. Yeah. His defense has been really well, which is what our Blues need. Actually, our defense have been pretty lackey lately. But I think Luai is going to be out, which means Moses will come in. Ooh. I reckon they'll have the Cleary and Moses connection like they did last year. But who knows? Yeah, who knows? Luai may even come back.
I would think Luai. I would go Luai just because of the gel connection between them. And Moses and Cleary are the same type of player. You wouldn't want them stepping on each other's toes. You'd take one or the other.
And then when you think about it, he has been leading the team pretty well for the Tigers as the number 7.
Yep.
So, now I'm thinking about it.
They know each other too.
Yeah. They were juniors. They played school rugby together. So why not put Luai in there? But yeah, in my opinion, I prefer Moses just because Luai hasn't really been up to standard.
Fair enough. Moses is just coming back too. Was he 2 weeks back from injury?
Yeah.
But he has played well in those
Yeah.
2 weeks. He's commanded his team well, and they were doing pretty lackluster before that. So he's come back. He's made a difference. And Dylan Brown's got a whole lot less pressure on him now. So maybe that the Eels are looking a little bit better, on the turn.
Yeah. Someone who will make it, like, even though he's not a first timer, is Latrell. Obviously, Latrell will play. The way that he played last week, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They were up there. They were down. What was it? 14-0.
It was the weekend of the comeback.
Yeah. It was
That's why I thought the Warriors were going to get run down.
Yeah. So, 14-0 halftime to the Broncos.
That's right.
Next half, Latrell comes out on one-man armies again. Comes out, ends up being, 22-14 by the end of the game. He did that little sneaky try right on 80 minutes as well. A little cheeky bastard. But, yeah, he's such a gun. He's such a good player. He's played 5'8". He's played 5'8". He's played fullback. He's played center this year. He's pretty much been everywhere. So for the Blues, he's the one. He's the one for me.
Chuck him in anywhere.
Pretty much put him anywhere, yeah. And he looks, even though he looks big, he looks really fit.
He does.
He looks very fit, and he looks humble. He doesn't talk a lot of shit anymore, which is good. So Latrell's the one for me. Yeah.
Latrell's the one. All right.
Fantasy.
What did your trades look like this week?
They did pretty well. So last week I had traded. It was Peter Mamazoulis, Jalen de Groot, and who was my last one? Corey Horsburgh. And I traded those three people in for Jacob Carrez, the new young gun, Laurent Patea, for the Panthers. He was only like 230. I wasn't planning on playing him, but he was a nice little cheapie, so I could get somebody good.
I think he had a negative break even as well from the week before.
Which he did. So regardless of his low score, he'll get money. And then Joe Tapine. Pretty much did a straight swap from Corey Horsburgh to Joe Tapine just because Horsburgh got injured. But now that I've heard that he's back next round, I'm sad. But
at least I should have checked that before you traded him.
Yeah, I probably should have checked that. But hey, I got Tapine, so that's okay. Yeah. And he's going to be there for the first week of buy round. So I think this week
Tapine play the Warriors.
Yeah, I think this week Tapine, if you can afford him, he's the one to go. 100%.
I think that I'm buying Tapine this week. Probably Tapine and Garrick. Those are the two that are on my shopping list.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I'm going to work them, but I've got a little bit of money in the bank from last week. So I bought that boy Laurent Patea as well.
Yeah.
And he freed up quite a bit of cash so that I could keep, I think it was Cleary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I decide to keep Cleary beyond this week, which is their bye week, then you wouldn't get him back until after State of Origin 3.
Pretty much, yeah.
So you either hold him through that whole time or you keep him through that whole time and take whatever crumbs he gives you in the games that he does play. So I'm still tossing up whether to do that, but I think I am going to keep him the whole time.
Yeah.
Which means I probably have to move on a couple of other people who are expected to play Origin in the long term. So probably Ponga. I'm still hanging on the Toby Couchman injury.
Yeah.
Have you got Couchman?
I do have Couchman. He's not back until round 14. So basically,
he's probably a trade.
He probably is a trade, but he's another person that I was thinking of for Origin too. He looked pretty good. He looked very well.
Down the drain now, though.
He is down the drain, but he was one of the options before I found that he got injured. But
because he's injured, how do you like the look of the boy Hamish Stewart?
I saw him play on the weekend as well. He played pretty well.
I bought him last weekend.
And he's a cheap, isn't he? About
low 400s, I think. I bought him at 410, so he might be 440 or something like that.
Yeah, he may be. Yeah, he is a buy, 100%. Oh, and he plays for the Raiders, doesn't he?
No, he plays for the Dragons.
Oh, he does play for Dragons. Oh, I must be thinking of Matty Nicholson before he got injured.
If you haven't got him yet, then you probably missed the boat on him.
Yeah. Oh, true. Hamish Stewart. Yeah, he will be the one. And then what about that new kid? Yeah, he's huge. Huge forward. Wasn't it?
Biggie. What's his name?
Katonga? No, it's not Katonga.
Pacifica
Tonga. Yeah, Pacifica Tonga. Do you reckon he will play because Toby Couchman is injured until round 14?
Yes.
Okay.
So his stats from the weekend were inflated because of the Toby Couchman injury. So he played more minutes than he was supposed to play, made more tackles, but the boy is large. And if he can handle the extra minutes in the NRL, he might be an option. He looks like they like him from short range and the crash plays because of his size, like a Xavier Willison sort of style.
Yeah, or an Adam Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those crash plays. Yeah.
So he might be worth it. He's still in the 230, so he might be worth a jump on him.
Last week as well, he played 30 minutes, got 30 points. That shows the potential that he has. So, yeah, he may be a buy. He may not be. But
apart from the trade,
that's
by buying him.
Yeah, like you won't lose anything besides the trade, regardless of like whoever's injured. So maybe you could go, you go Couchman down to him or Hamish Stewart, and then you'll have at least 300k in the bank to trade whoever you want for someone higher. So 100%. They may be an option. Hamish Stewart, Pacifica Tonga,
Leka Halasima.
Halasima, if you don't have him, you need to hurry up and get him because his break-even's about to break soon. But yeah, those three are the ones. Well, in our opinion.
So, I need a wing fullback.
A wing fullback.
Yeah, is there anyone that you're looking at? Because I'm gonna have to get rid of Ponga.
Well, if you don't have,
I like the look of Fletcher Sharp, but I probably missed the boat on him.
If you missed I'm looking at. I have AJ Brimson. It's like he is a bit ooey, but he's been doing well.
Especially now that Jaden Campbell is back, they're sharing kick meters. So I'm not 100% sure of Brimson. I'd probably rather have Campbell.
Is he play fullback still?
Yeah, still listed at fullback. Yeah, he's still dual. But he's expensive.
Yeah,
like he's in the 800s now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's so expensive. So you've missed him. I'm gonna have a look. Well, I mean, there's Iongi. No, you can't get Iongi.
I don't want Iongi.
Let's sell on Iongi.
I would love
Crichton?
I'm probably just looking at Garrick, to be honest.
Yeah, there's not really much. There's not really any.
He plays round 12 and 15, so
yeah, there's not really any good like fullbacks that are within range to buy.
Yeah,
because they're too far gone now. So yeah, I mean, what you said, Ruben Garrick is probably the best option.
Garrick, Carrez,
dual position.
And they both play 12 and 15. Like they have good pie schedules.
But for Carrez, I think you've missed the boat though, because his break even was low as last week. Pulled a 57, and now he went from 680 to 713. So unless if you have enough for that, you've missed the boat in Carrez.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. That's probably the NRL and NRL fantasy breakdown that we have for the week.
Mm-hmm.
What are we moving on to next?
Super Rugby.
Super Rugby. It is heating up in Super Rugby Town. Now, I did catch the Chiefs versus Crusaders game. Did you happen to see that game?
I did not.
So it was a real tight game. It was in Christchurch, so Crusaders were up for it. First versus second.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs ended up pulling away late,
just
sort of ground out a real solid victory.
As they held first position, and as always.
Well, that's what they did. They just kind of let everyone know, with a couple of rounds to go, it's most likely that the Chiefs will be at the top of the table heading into the finals. I'm still more interested in
the Crusaders.
Well, the 5th and 6th sort of who's going in 5th and 6th.
Hurricanes.
So it's the Blues, the Hurricanes, the Moana Pacifica, and the Waratahs that are pretty much fighting it out for 2 spots.
Against who?
Those 4 teams are fighting each other for 2 spots.
For 5 and 6A.
Yeah, and the Hurricanes and the Blues and Moana Pacifica are playing each other this weekend.
Oh, so that's a game to watch.
Well, the winner definitely goes into the 6.
Yep.
The loser probably has a pretty hard road ahead of them to make it. Like it's not shut the gate. It's over, but it's close.
It's still difficult.
They need to rely on other people losing in order to make it. So big games coming ahead this weekend and beyond. And rugby's not as dead as we thought it was, you know?
Yeah. I guess not. Still up the Hurricanes, baby.
They're playing good rugby. I'm not thinking that they are going to be a pushover. They'll probably make it somewhere in that 6. I'm hoping they will.
And the Chiefs steal it from us.
No,
like they did last
they
year.
wouldn't do such a thing. All right.
Here we go.
There's the leaderboard. So we've got the Chiefs,
Yep.
41 points, 9 wins from 12. The Brumbies, 39. The Crusaders, 37. The Reds, 32. And then it kind of jumps back. There's quite a bit of a gap to the Blues on 27, Hurricanes 26, Moana Pacifica 24. And the Waratahs kind of an outside chance on 22, as well as the Force.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's lots of teams that can still make that top 6.
Yeah, this is much closer than I thought. Wow.
The Australian teams have been really good this year. It was quite a surprise, really, because they've been quite shit in previous years. So there was a point in the season where no New Zealand team had come to Australia and won, which is pretty horrendous for our teams.
What a record.
I mean, I think that's gone now, but yeah. It's been good having the bulk of the Australian teams show up.
Yeah.
Like not just the Brumbies, because the Brumbies are always good.
Yeah.
But there have been times when the rest of their teams have just been shit. The infrastructure isn't good enough in the country, and they lose all their players to league. It is what it is.
Pretty much, yeah.
But this year they've drilled hard, they've been coached well, and good game plans have got them wins.
Pretty much, yeah. Seeing the Waratahs and the Force getting up there as well, or like having
and the Reds
and the Reds. Wow, yeah, they are. What are they? They're fourth, eh?
Yeah, they're fourth, and they're pretty much in.
They're pretty much in, yeah. Wow.
Unless they lost all their games, but
which I don't think is going to happen, eh?
No,
because what's their draw is looking all right, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I don't look at the Reds draw, to be honest. I just kind of watch the games as they come.
Yeah.
But yeah, Super Rugby's in a good holding pattern. There's been some really good rugby played, especially recently.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sort of itching for the finals.
Yeah.
Because then once the finals come, then I'm itching for All Black season. Like, the June test window, that's when rugby really starts. Yeah. Super Rugby is kind of like just the curtain raiser
pretty much
for real rugby.
It's the undercard.
It's the prelims. All right, what do we got next? Looks like NBA.
Oh.
NBA. So we're down to 8 teams in the NBA. Let me see if I can remember correctly. The Knicks are playing the Boston Celtics. The Knicks are up 2-1. Boston blew 2 20-point leads in those first 2 games.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then they sort of cakewalked them in the third game. So it's going back to New York, and New York is up 2-1. But Boston has the better team. So
they do. The Pacers.
The Pacers are up 3-1.
Holy shit.
Against the first place Cavs.
Yeah. Wow.
I haven't seen any of these games, but that is a boil over. The Cavs had the best Eastern record the whole season. That's why they came first.
They're getting smoked now.
And now when it matters, Tyrese Halliburton is carving them up.
Yep.
Like
them a new
turkey.
one.
Then we have Minnesota
Golden
up
State.
2-1 against Golden State. Golden State won the first game in a real low-scoring game.
Yeah.
And then they got blown away in the next 2.
Mm-hmm.
It is heading back to Golden State, like home floor advantage, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is that okay?
So hopefully
for game 4, eh?
That's for game 4, yeah. So Minnesota's up 2-1. OKC and Denver have had their 4th game, and they're tied at 2 games all.
Ooh, okay.
Shea, so I quietly want OKC to win the whole thing because I want Shea Gilgeous-Alexander to get his flowers,
Yeah, he deserves it.
Oh, the dude's a machine.
It.
However, he's looked like the MVP the whole season up until very recently. So the whole season he's been putting this team on his back. He carries them 30, 40, 50 points a game.
Yep.
As well as, the 8-9 dimes and the 5-6 rebounds. And, he does everything, this guy. Mid-range is out the gate.
Gets the playoffs.
Yeah, now he's up against a team that has seasoned veterans. You're talking Jokic, you're talking Jamal Murray, you're talking Aaron Gordon.
The real guns.
Well, they're all guns.
Competition.
Shay's a gun.
Yes.
But these are seasoned veterans who've been doing it a long time. They had a championship only 2 years ago, so they know how to get to the mountaintop. Whereas OKC never been to the mountaintop. A whole host of young players on their roster.
Yeah.
It's just they don't have the experience, but I'd still love to see them go all the way and do it.
100%. Yeah, imagine that. Seeing the young guns beat the veterans.
I'd love to see them against the Knicks in the final.
Oh,
I like Jalen Brunson. Like as an old
Yes.
guy, he's so crafty. He figures out how to beat these young kids. He doesn't have more athleticism, speed, strength, power than them, but he's crafty up here.
Smart.
He knows what to do and when to do it. Like he's one of those old veterans that you just don't want to fuck around with.
He's that visionary. He's kind of like a magician. That's what he reminds me of. He reminds you of a magician.
I like
He would pull stuff out of his hat, out of nowhere.
out of his little bag of tricks.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think that's how he won game 1.
Yeah, he did. I remember watching that video. I watched his highlights. He was carving up that team.
He's good.
Yeah.
All right, so that's kind of the NBA sort of recap for you. It's all sort of building nicely.
It is.
I like it when it has less teams. To be honest.
Well, yeah, towards the end of the year, all these sports now they're getting entertaining. Now this is what we want to see, right?
The big players have to step up at these times.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we have a question.
So we just want to move on to MMA, but did we see true title potential in the weekend finishes, or are the fans still mistaking hype for high-level skill?
In the UFC?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't watch the whole thing. I was only really interested in Navajo Sterling, the young New Zealand bull, getting his second start in the UFC, and he looked good
Until
he picked the dude apart and he was winning the fight and he still tried to finish in the third round. He didn't quite get the finish and he won it easily on points.
Oh, okay.
He was a little afraid of the dude's power, just a little bit wary, but just kind of getting his feet under him in the UFC. So I'm still big on this kid. Like when he first stepped into the octagon, I thought this guy's jacked. Like he was a lot bigger for this fight, and you could tell he's just been working. He's a real grinder.
Hustler.
He's a real grinder,
Mm-hmm.
and he's I can't say enough about this kid. Like he's young, he works really, really hard. He doesn't get caught up in the bullshit. He doesn't trash talk people. He's a lot like Jai Opataya.
Oh yeah,
like, doesn't get caught
really
up in the
humble.
shit. Just lets his fists do the talking.
Yeah.
So that's what I really like about him. I was only really interested in his fight. He got the job done. And then Jack Della Maddalena won the welterweight title off Bilal Muhammad.
I saw that on the on social media. All my friends have been talking about it. They're like, "Oh my gosh, it's a new guy. It's about time."
Australia's third UFC champion after Robert Whittaker and then Volk. So, he's just passed into the big names. He hasn't had that many fights in the UFC, but he's been undefeated the whole time. He's 18-0. Yeah. Hasn't lost since like 2016. So it's one of those cases where no one's kind of figured him out yet.
Pretty much, yeah.
Very, very good boxer. Like his boxing MMA IQ is next level. A lot of people find that hard to deal with. So that's the thing that needs to get figured out before someone can sort of knock him over. But
who do you reckon will be that person
at 170? I think he's looking at Islam, and he wants to get. I did read something there where he said he wanted to get revenge for Volk on Islam.
Oh yeah.
So Islam will have to go up to 170 because JDM's too big to make 155. Be an interesting match. Like Islam's wrestling is so good. Yeah, it's so good. Hard to deal with.
Strength on that
and
guy.
When you're talking boxing versus wrestling, the boxing has to be super clean for it to beat the wrestling. Like the wrestling, it nullifies boxing in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because in boxing you're only using your two hands, but in wrestling it's kind of like it's a whole different ballgame.
That's true. Like he's not just using his two hands because he's using boxing for MMA, so he's using elbows and kicks and knees too, but with a sort of just emphasis on boxing, shall we say.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah.
But then when you've got someone who has an emphasis on wrestling, who doesn't have such good stand-up, he wants to get to grappling mode straight away. And the dude has a vice grip. So I think the Islam versus JDM match, if they make that match relatively quickly, will be a big fight. And I would love to see it in Australia.
Oh, in Australia would be amazing. Oh, Cass is going to be packed out.
The whole place would get packed out. Like, I think that they could sell that out. JDM has, he has fanfare following. So why not bring it down here and see if he can knock over Islam?
And get that revenge for Volky.
Maybe they could get Volk on the, co-main or something. No, not on the commentary, on the co-main.
Yeah, that's my guy. Got my revenge, Muddy. You avenged me.
Wow. You got anything else, question section, or that's kind of all we had for this evening? Did you want to say anything?
Up the wires, baby.
He kind of says the same thing every time.
I say it every time. I don't know anything about the other sport. I'm just here for moral support.
I appreciate the moral support.
But I love the NRL. So, yeah.
All right.
Thank you, team.
Thanks for everyone for coming. We'll see you next week. Thank you to my lovely wife.
Mm-hmm.